I'm back. Sorry, guys. You know I cannot wait to get this new phone, man. You know I am dying to get this new phone. It's just driving me crazy. It's been way too long, but we're supposed to be in on Friday. Two iPhones coming in, the iPhone 11 Pro, so they have buy one, get one free. Use them for both my numbers. But anyways, when you start building those dreams, when you start accomplishing those things, when you start doing and setting out on doing them, and that's all you got to do is be motivated to start those things and do those things. It's all you got to do. It's the same thing that happens with your family and your friends and the people in your world. Once you start, having a relationship where you approach it from a level of positivity and even just connectedness and just being there and letting them know that you care about them, that just, it just radiates and extends outward in such a beautiful and great way that you're touching that. It's a whole concept, but you're doing it with every person that you reach throughout the course of the day. For example, for me, I have the people that I work with Nurture. So every morning I reach out to them, and then every morning I, do what I need to do with them. I pay attention to each one. I make sure I'm involved. I'm mindful. I'm aware. And then also what I do is I reach out to my friends. My friends every morning, they get a text from me because it's important to me. I reach out to them, and so many people say, Pete, I look forward to getting that text every single morning. Like, that starts my day out like you wouldn't believe. That makes me feel incredible. Now, does it mean that they respond to me every day? No. Does it mean that they probably look at the text sometimes and they say, oh my God, WTF? But at least I try to stay involved in my life. Now, imagine if you do that with just a couple of people every day and how that would impact and affect them in a positive way, and then where that could go. And the reason I say this is because incrementally, they stripped that connectivity, those relationships, that community, that involvement with one another. They stripped it from us with our families, with us in family courts and the attorneys and police officers, law enforcement, local courts. They stripped that from us and our families because what they did is they created a situation where there could be strife, and that very easily you could contact one of these agencies and you could completely eviscerate the family unit. The schools, they're complicit in this as well. Churches, I went to church my whole life. Very rarely was I a part of a church that was a community. Churches dropped the ball. They lost opportunity on being able to help all the people that they could have helped. Why didn't churches have it set up so that if somebody wasn't working, they networked with the business owners and said, hey, this person needs a job. Do you know somebody else, or do you have an opportunity? Churches dropped the ball. Our communities and our neighborhoods, we used to know one another. How many of your neighbors do you know? How many of the neighbors do I know? How many neighbors do you talk to? With our phones, with televisions, just with constant bombardment of isolation, this is how they've created the beast that we're in right now. And, the government isn't that big. And we've talked about that. And we should be tearing it down. We should be tearing it down to its core, digging up the foundation and throwing it away and moving it to a new site and starting all over. Because what government has done is government has alienated each one of us from one another. They've isolated us because what they do is they increase your taxes on your property. They increase all of the demands, insurances, payments, bills, tariffs, everything that you've got. They keep increasing it every day. And you get overwhelmed and you get burdened, and it just becomes consuming. And it becomes this weight on you that it just buries you every day. You get up, you're not exuberant, you're not full of life, and you're like, man, I got to go do this because I got to pay this bill. You're so consumed and caught up in doing that. And government created that. You know, my property taxes here just went up again. The school property taxes, they went up. For what? These teachers aren't going to be teaching, but the property taxes went up. You know, $7,000 to $8,000 I'm paying on a property in Cheektowaga. How can anybody afford that? You know, they want to create remote learning, but they don't want to discount the taxes. Alma does it for a third. Other counties do it for even less in this state. And, you know, other states in the country do it for far less. So it is possible. You know, I have the plans to do those things. They weaponize the health department against us. They weaponize against small businesses, our businesses. They weaponize the assessor's office against us. They weaponize the inspector's office against us. Every department that they have, law enforcement, every single one of them that they have, they've weaponized them against us. And these people go through their lives who work for them, you know, the few hundred people that work for each one of these agencies, they're like, well, that's my job. You know, it's not like they're knowing deep staters. They're not. Most of them aren't. Some are. But most of them are just like, I'm just doing my job, man. That's it. I'm doing my job. I'm collecting my $80K a year job, you know, for doing nothing. And yeah, I know, Natalie, I hope not, but good morning. Good morning, Lisa. But there's a way to take it back, guys. And there's a lot of great people that are Frank Panizak, Mike Segul, Gina Kay, you know, Taylor Zablonsky. Just, you go through the list of all the people that are fighting. You know, just Natalie's one. You know, you look at all the people that are fighting separately, individually. And if we just all come together, if we could just come together, we could tear each town apart. Like, just tear it apart. Be in a concerted effort to do it. And just strip it down and rebuild it where it should be without all the waste. The Parks Department, completely wasteful. What are they doing? Mowing the lawns, and they've barely been doing that through this. Highway Department, what have they been doing? Excuse me, sorry. It barely snowed last year. Barely snowed. But you have a highway department that's tasked with going out and plowing the roads, but they don't plow the roads. They're not using salt. They're not using fuel. But our taxes still go up. The taxes stay the same. Well, they have to wait for the 1 year that it's going to be bad. I get it, but come on, you know? That's great. That's awesome, Natalie. That's huge to hear. I can't wait to hear all about it. But the health department's the same way, guys. That could be tore down. It's like 300 employees. The county office, however many employees are there. It can all be tore down, guys. We can do it. We can make it happen. We've seen Black Lives Matter do it. We've seen Antifa and the media work against law enforcement. Let's work against the agencies that are keeping us all down, keeping our minds down, keeping our hearts down, keeping our spirits down, keeping our souls down, just burying us under debt, depression, anxiety. Like, if you took a look at your life and you look at, well, what are my sources of anxiety and depression and whatever else that I have? Most people are going to say bills. And where do most of those bills come from? You know, of course you have the bills for the things that you own, but at least you chose that. You know, the bills that you have associated with the tax base that are there right now, I know they have, Natalie. The bills that we have right now associated with government, they inundate you. And they're just become all consuming. Worrying about how to pay. Village of Orchard Park said that they had to mow my lawn out there the one time, and I'm not even sure why. It's trespass. But they charged me, then they mowed it, which they shouldn't have had to have done, and then $330 bill. It's a $50 charge. They said there's an admin fee in there. Charged me for $300. That's extortion. That's criminal what they did to charge that much money. Then I spoke to the inspector and he said, I have to do this and I have to do that. I go, John, and he's a friend of mine, but I go, John, you want me to move this stuff that's on the side of my garage, this clay pipe? Like, really? Like, this is where these people have gotten to. This is where these town officials have gotten to. They think that they have the right to control absolutely every last little thing in your life. And Orchard Park is especially bad. The people that are on that board, they are communists, is what they are. Let's call them what they are. And the police department out there, they feel like they have total reign over everything in their borders. And they set up roadblocks, which are illegal. They've been deemed illegal, and they still do it. Hamburg does the same thing. My buddy Andy yesterday said, hey, you're going to move out, on Newton Road, because I'm probably not going to stay here in Cheektowaga. I'll rent this out, and I'm not going back into the Village of Orchard Park. I really don't. I don't like it there. I love the house. I've done everything there, but I'll rent both properties out, and then I'll find a place that I want to live locally here, that I'll be able to live my life the way that I want to live it, with whoever I'm going to live it with, and at peace, and not have to worry about driving through town with a roadblock being set up. I mean, that's been going on for over a decades. Orchard Park did that, and Hamburg has been doing that. Not many other municipalities do that, but Alma has, 30,000, 40,000 people out in it, maybe less. No police department. They operate just fine. There's no issues. When you have a police department that's so big, like in Orchard Park and Hamburg, and they're doing nothing all day long, they have to justify their existence. So they have to come up with crimes to accuse people of, so they could fill the courts, and then they could get all the fines from, the tickets that they're issuing, or the arrests that they're making, because they're arresting people that really haven't done anything wrong. But they are so bored in those neighborhoods, and they're not doing anything to combat the real crime that's going on in their communities. So they harass the small guy, the small woman. And it happens all the time. If we could tear apart these institutions, we start to give our lives back, because those biggest things, I think about my day and what I've got going on, and and all the things that I have to do. And I want to do things around my house. I need to do things around my house. I have to finish a bunch of projects, but we're getting on that. That's part of the process. But the single biggest thing that I have to worry about every single day are, what's the assessor going to do? What's the inspector going to do? What's law enforcement going to do today? What's this town official going to pass? What's this county official going to pass? What are they going to do to my friends? What are they going to do to my family? What am I going to do to my favorite restaurant? What are they going to do to my business? Government is the single biggest source of anxiety and depression there is. Other than if you have a medical condition. I'm talking in mass, in general. Though that is the entity, and that's never the way it was intended to be, guys. So these people work together to form and group and collect, and now they're where they're at, and they're entrenched, and they're doing everything that they can do to hurt each one of us every single day. And they laugh about it. I can tell you, because I've been in these offices where they laugh and boast and brag about, though I remember the one time in Orchard Park, the superintendent, I can't even remember her name, she said, we need to get that speed limit back down to 55 because I need to increase my revenue. My revenue's gone way down. Literally what she said. Town of Sloan went in there. We drive around the towns, we drive around town and we look for vehicles. We look for trucks and we shut them down. For mowing lawns, for painting. That should never be the case, ever. Let the insurance companies do the inspections on the homes when work is done. Let them do annual inspections. They're going to do it way better than these town officials that aren't educated. They're going to do it way better than the inspectors who aren't educated. Because it's their investment and they're going to want to protect it. The assessor's office is gone, like I've said. A flat tax across the board for everybody's property. It's for services, just like they say. It's for services rendered. Highway department, parks, garbage collection, sewage, water, whatever, all the stuff that they've got that they come up with. And then their huge lavish offices It's got to be paid for. So they just increase these taxes just to a point where you can't even sustain it. But you have towns like Elma that are at a third of where we're at. You have other counties that are a third or a quarter of where we're at in this state, or less. And you have other states that are doing the same thing for way less. They built and constructed a system to isolate us, to keep us individualized as much as possible and separated as much as possible. That's exhibited right now with what's going on for the past 6 months with this lockdown. People are isolated in their homes and have been for 6 months. They just pushed it out even more, guys. They just separated us even more. And it's crippling people. It's hurting people. So when you reach out to others, that's going to start to get it back. When you start to do something that you're interested in, that's going to start to take it back. When you start to figure out who to group with on our page or other pages and who to align with and what you can do as a leader, it's going to start to get better. It's going to start to improve. And that's the whole point of what's going on, what I spoke about today. So each one of us can make a small little difference. And once we all start to make those small little differences collectively, it's going to mean a whole lot. So going to court, I don't know what time it is. It's 7:40. I had to shut down, and on the phone it went a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but a lot of important stuff to talk about. I think the Marching Patriots have an event going on Saturday in East Aurora again. There's also a Blue Lives Matter protest the same day at Gratwick Park, I believe, in Tonawanda. I'm not sure the exact time, but I think it's 11 o'clock. And then, of course, the march against pedophilia and sex trafficking and human trafficking, which will be where I'm at. And that is going to be this Saturday, Spot Coffee on Elmwood, 11 a.m. And oh God, I'm drawing a blank right now. The organizer asked me to speak, which I'm honored. She said, Pete, you got a big voice. People listen to you, they respect you. So I said, well, what time and where and when do you want me to say it and what do you want me to say? So I'm happy and honored and proud to, I'll get her name tomorrow. I just read the message and I was trying to catch up on Messenger today. It probably got about 80 to 100 different individuals that I needed to respond to over the course of the past couple of months. And I added that into my schedule. I said, hey, look, I'm going to apply 30 minutes every morning to get through all the new ones, but then to go through the old ones. So I'm making sure I'm being better and making sure I'm moving forward. But those are the protests that are going on. They're all on Saturday. And then, like I said, we have the big one, the pedophilia one, the sex trafficking. There's a march at 11. I don't know where that starts exactly, but bring your signs that are specific to sex trafficking and human trafficking and pedophilia. All right, let's keep it, across all party lines. Let's come together. This is a really good reason and opportunity for us to come together and start to talk to some people that are probably vehemently opposed to what the differences we have. Like how many times I've said the differences that we have are probably like 5% differences, but that 5% we all conflate to 100% difference, polar opposite, when we're not. We have a lot of the similar interests and concerns to combat, but we take that 5% and we look at the other person as an enemy and a combatant. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to come together. So enjoy your day, guys. I've got to try to charge this phone up and have it ready to go for after court. But enjoy your day. Love you guys. Take care.